Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I'm going to tell you a story. Actually, I want you to do a little experiment. Continue to listen to my voice, but shift your focus to any object in your room. Just begin to stare at that object. Keep looking at the object. Now I want you to look at the space around the object. Just stare at the space around the object. Now, artists and folks like Gypsy Schindler, who know how to focus on the space around the object and the light around the object, already see this coming. But if you're new at it, keep looking, keep looking. And after a while, the object begins to kind of get a little bit blurry. You can't really tell the line between the object and the space around the object. What are you really focusing on? Why did I want you to do that? I wanted you to do that because that's perspective. And sometimes we're looking at a thing so much that we forget the things around it. We forget the contributing factors. We forget the rest of the story. We forget that somebody else has a perspective. We forget that there are other participants in this. We forget that the self is social. We forget that you're not alone in this. And so this week, we're going to focus on shifting our perspective. I say this week, today. I want you to begin to shift your focus. Why? Because good news is hard to find. Our world has forced us to focus on everything else, and you can't see the good. I study things that are not necessarily right, but I try to see them through what is right. It's called appreciative inquiry, because if you only look at what's wrong, you will begin to dismantle some of what's right. So if you go into a thing looking at the thing that you want to move, you can't see the space around it. So that if I move that thing, I may affect that space. This sounds like some highbrow, new agey, hooey fooey, academic, all of it wrapped up in one. And it kind of is. But it's also very spiritual. Changing our paradigm, changing our worldview will change the results of what you get. I remember once I was teaching my class how to reject the null hypothesis and why you should reject the null hypothesis. And I had been up all night the night before writing a paper, writing my dissertation. And I'm teaching the statistics class how to reject the null hypothesis. And I get through it and they don't understand, and I teach it again. They don't understand, and I teach it again. They finally get it. And then someone in the back of the class raised their hand and said, "Are we going to completely skip over chapter 6?" I had skipped the chapter that talked about what it was that they were rejecting. And so it took so long for them to understand it because they didn't even know what to do with it, because they didn't know what it was they were trying to do something with. I know this is making sense to somebody. I think that it's why I come at racism differently than most people. It's very similar to Pauli Murray, very similar to Howard Thurman, very similar to Martin Luther King. So, well, who do you want to be? Who do you say you are? In order for you to be who you say you are, you got to remove this thing. And who you say you are is a good thing, but you can't be that doing this thing. Changing perspective, changing the way we see the world is half the battle. I love you, and we're going to get there.